Anantapuri, Ambassador Abhay Thakur, Dr. Krishnashri Achyutan, Dr. Nava Subramaniam, Lindia and Felista, Miss Lindia and Felista, we invite you also to the dais, please. Om Amriteshwaryai Namaha. My humble salutations and pranams to Amma, Her Holiness Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, the C20 Chair, and my greetings, namaskarams, a warm welcome to Honorable Chief Guest, Ambassador Abhay Thakur, and all the distinguished civil society leaders, members of the C20 Secretariat, eminent government officials, and all the eminent personalities from across the world, joining us today here and online on this momentous occasion of the valedictory ceremony of the C20 Technology and Security for One World Summit 2023 at Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham campus. Let us begin with a prayer to invite the divine's blessings, and I kindly request all to rise, and I kindly request Dr. Priya Nair to come on to the dais.
ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकामीश्वरीम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकामीश्वरीम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ईश्वरीम्.
Thank you, Dr. Priya. Now I request Dr. Nava Subramaniam, National Coordinator of TST Working Group, Dean of the School of Business of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Coimbatore, to welcome all our dignitaries.
Om Amriteshwarye Namaha. Good evening. Welcome. Namaskar. Yen anbu vanakkam ellorukkam. Thank you. It is indeed a great privilege and honor to make this welcome address here today And sadly, it's the final valedictory session of what has been a truly wonderful policy summit of the C20 Technology, Security, and Transparency Working Group. We have had 2 days of intense policy discussions on not only how technology can be leveraged for good, but also how to safeguard from many of the challenges and threats that technology poses. It was very evident that both the problems and solutions related to technology lie at the heart of humanity. Also, throughout these last 2 days, we've had lots of fun with technology, particularly with the drone show. Wasn't that a fantastic show yesterday? Yes. And all the wonderful cultural events. But without further ado, let me warmly welcome Ambassador Abe Thakur as our chief guest here today. Ambassador Abe Thakur. Ambassador Thakur is our G20 SUS Sherpa. I now would like to invite Swami Amrita Swarupananda to welcome him with the I would also like to pay my sincere pranams to Swamiji. And it has been, Swamiji, an honor to have had you here for the last 2 days, to have heard your deep insights and your wisdom on how technology and spirituality are to be married and to be work together. So technology without spirituality is the real danger zone. And thus, like Srimata Amritananda, my Amma says, compassion is, and the consciousness of compassion is critical for technology to really make social impact. Next, I would also like to welcome Ms. Felicita Aku, who from AfriLabs, Nigeria, and I invite Mr. Ram Ganapathy to do the felicitation. Thank you. Our next special guest is Ms. Lindy Ajiambo Wafula, who is the CEO of Village Ventures Kenya. And I would like to invite Ms. Alison Richards to do the honors. I also welcome to the podium Ms. Alison Richards, who is our international coordinator of the C20 TST, and of course, our captain, as I call her, and our national coordinator of C20 TST, Dr. Krishnashree Achyutan. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Navar. Next, I kindly request Dr. Krishnashree Achyutan, Dean of Postgraduate Programs at Amrita Vidyapeetham, to address the gathering with highlights of the summit and efforts of TST Working Group of the Civil 20.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. My humble prostrations to Amma's divine lotus feet. Revered guests on the dais and everyone present here. It is an honor and a great thrill for us to be able to present a summary of all the activities we have done and completed as part of the C20 Technology, Security, and Transparency Working Group. The combined efforts of each and every civil society organization is going to be shared now. The 4 major verticals of Technology, Security, and Transparency Group included technology for empowerment, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence and data for society, transparency, trust, and disinformation. Some of the highlights of the recommendations provided included: we must bridge the digital divide, ensuring that marginalized communities are not left behind in the digital age. We should create incentives for investment in underserved communities and fund community technology centers while ensuring that government services are accessible online. We must reskill and upskill people to rethink the future of work and become capable of working jobs. To ensure safe internet practices, we must share best practices and knowledge across countries and channel resources towards focused digital literacy campaigns aimed at educating citizens on technology's safe use. Multilingual language models will promote equitable access to technology by accounting for dialects and accents. While designing cybersecurity policies, policymakers must take a human-centric approach to ensure that such policies do not infringe on fundamental human rights. Finally, to establish international regulations, we must see how social media platforms could identify and regulate disinformation while safeguarding freedom of speech. The last couple of days have been a very big joy to behold, as my colleague, Dr. Nava, mentioned. The frenetic energy and the solidarity we witnessed was simply amazing. I think beyond just policy recommendations, this team has also taken substantial steps towards various initiatives. We saw yesterday the launch of GLIDES, the Global Internet Governance, Digital Empowerment, and Security Alliance, which already has 23 countries participating in it. We also launched the Technology Advancement and Capacity Building and Training Initiatives for civil society organizations, the first of its kind in the world. A collaboration with How Women Lead to empower women. Several memorandum of understanding with Synergia Foundation, TU Munich with Institute of AI Ethics, Ishala Society, Prajahita Foundation, Shanti Ashram, Sevalaya, amongst a few. Just these past 2 days witnessed 52 amazing speakers, 5 panel sessions, 10 policy breakouts, 3 keynotes, a jubilant celebration of Indian culture and heritage. I wanted to mention or conclude these accomplishments with a quote that we heard from Dr. Vint Cerf, an authority on internet. He said, "Gravity is the weakest force in the universe, but when you get enough mass, it holds all the planets around the sun." So with collective action, if we are determined to change the status quo, to make the world a better place, we can do it. The primary outcome of this entire process has been a convergence of hearts and mind to pave the roads to further concrete and strengthening collaboration. With that, I'd like to conclude with a prayer. Actually, it's also a quote of Amma. She says, "Only when hearts come together does life blossom." And this is my prayer for all of us. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Dr. Krishnashree. We will now have a short video which depicts the highlights of our two-day summit here. Next, we have Ms. Alessandra Nilo, General Coordinator, Gestas Brazil, and a C20 Troika member joining us online. Ms. Nilo has worked for decades to publicize the United Nations General Assembly Declaration of Commitment on HIV and AIDS as a tool to monitor and evaluate the implementation of national HIV policies. She developed the UNGASS AIDS Forum platform, which was later expanded to Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean, and is used throughout the world as an advocacy and research tool to support a network of women activists in the field of sexual and reproductive health and rights. Ms. Nilo dedicates her career to increasing women's influence on decision-making processes at local, national, and international levels, and full implementation of international commitments on matters related to HIV and sexual and reproductive health and rights. Kindly request you to address the gathering.
Many thanks. Namaste to all of us. It is an honor to be here. Thank you for having me here. As a member of the Troika C20, I really would like to thank you all for holding this event that we are now concluding. I thank the members of C20 Working Group on Technology, Security, and Transparency, and I salute all panelists and organizers for the session today. I think we all know that as civil society, it is extremely important for the present and the future of humanity that at this moment we suggest ways of addressing many of the world's challenges and shortfalls we have seen. We need to remind the G20 countries that there are solutions. And I'm happy to see that the Working Group on Technology, Security, and Transparency will present solutions to G20 that will help us to move towards a more sustainable world and to improve, most of all, to us to improve as global civil society and human beings dealing with technologies. We all know that technology, security, and transparency are essential to define the way we will respond to the crisis that we are facing at this moment. This is a very concerning moment in history. So I think it's time also to mention that private partnerships with high techs must be built with communities and must be transparent and accessible for all. It is time to remember the G20 that digital platforms must follow data security standards they should use also softwares and mechanisms that are many times free and that can guarantee adequate public and safe use for everyone, including and particularly including for young people, students, and schools, communities. We need to make sure that these business and partnerships with private sectors and governments, they must be, of course, regulated, monitored, and to guarantee transparency and protection of the personal data. To end, I just want to share with you that the biggest crisis that we are facing now is a crisis of civilization. So I hope that we can get out of it, and I hope that together we can all walk towards to be a much more better human beings. So I wish we can use technologies to be people informed by the truth, to be critical human beings, and never to be subservient human beings in any case, in no situation. So let's use this opportunity to remind the G20 that technology is a tool. It's not an end, and it needs to be used in the best way possible to build peaceful societies, inclusive societies, and societies that will leave no one behind. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for organizing this session. Namaste to all of you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Alessandra. Next, we have Mr. Yigal Una, who is the former Director General of Israel National Cyber Directorate, reporting to the Prime Minister and responsible for securing Israel's cyberspace. Mr. Una has 3 decades of experience in the Israeli security apparatus, in SIGINT cyber positions, combining intelligence, R&D, and operations together with policy and capacity building. Kindly request Mr. Yigal Una to address the gathering.
Look how peaceful and quiet Tel Aviv looks at night. But unfortunately, this look is very misleading, as we are constantly and continuously under attacks. Which kind of attacks? A kind that you cannot see or hear, but believe me, it's there and it's causing a lot of damage. This is the cyber attacks. It's not just Tel Aviv, it's everywhere. It's a pandemic that hasn't gone anywhere like the COVID-19. It's still here and it's getting even worse as we speak, because the world is getting more and more digitalized, more and more modern, which bring a great advantages to all humanity. But also there's always a dark side of any technology, and for digital technology as well, what we call cyber threats. I served 33 years in the past 4 years specifically as the Director General of the Israel National Cyber Directorate, the agency responsible for securing Israel's cyberspace, civilian, everything. And Israel is one of the most, if not the most, targeted and attacked country cyber-wise in the world. So we suffered, and we're still suffering even a little more than the rest. And I can tell you, this threat is getting worse, but mainly for financial reasons. Ransomware attacks that can cripple down and hold down hospitals, humanitarian institutes. They don't care. They just want to extort money from us, and also for other reasons, influence and national security motivations. We must join forces and work together in order to prevail. We can prevail, but believe me, we must partner. No one, not a single agency and not a single country, specifically not Israel, can win that alone. It's always about partnering together. The good news is it's already on the way, and we are much better, the good guys, much better in partnering and cooperating than the bad guys. But we still need to work hard in 3 major recommendations or directions. First, we must build a network, a system, information system that we can share much faster, much better like a Facebook, but cyber Facebook, and closed and run by the G20 or like-minded countries, that we can share and pass information, unclassified but relevant, to prepare and to fight the attacks before they happen. We have that internally in Israel, we have in France, in the UK, in other countries, but now we need to level it up to a G20, to an overall global network that only vetted, trusted members can be part of it, but all of the countries that are trusted and share information in the speed of light to be prepared to the attacks before they happen, before the waves hit the shore. Second, we must build standardization that can be or must be obligatory, or something that is required for anyone that want to be part of supply chain to these 20 countries. Meaning that only those who meet the standards, specific standards of cybersecurity, can be trusted and pass into a trusted circle of suppliers in a supply chain. It can be energy, transportation, electronics, anything that we find important enough to build the standards. But we don't have any obligatory standards, nothing. So we need to focus on that, and that is easy because it's technology. And technology is something that we can find the right threshold to build it. And last, well, remember, the perpetrators, they rarely work in the same country that they attack. Why do that? They can stay someplace else and perpetrate in another country and getting away with it. Unfortunately, that's what they do, and usually they get away with it. Just check how many hackers, bad black hat hackers, are sitting in prison in each of your countries. Very few, too few. So we need to join forces and bring the law enforcement level, like the Interpol or any other law enforcement gathering, and the cyber agencies, which are usually not anything related with law enforcement, but they are focusing and understanding in cybersecurity. Bring something together to a common table or a common operation that we can share who are the perpetrators in the cyber, and get it to the hands of the law enforcement to apprehend and bring to justice wherever they are. Different countries, different legal systems, but they all use the same abusing techniques to hurt other countries, other people everywhere. So the world must be closer, work much more closer, and we can prevail, and we will prevail if we do that. It's easy. We just need to set the mind and bring the light in. We can shed light everywhere and remove the darkness. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Una, for the valuable insights. Now, I request our distinguished G20 Sous Sherpa, Ambassador Abhay Thakur, to address the gathering. Ambassador Abhay Thakur was High Commissioner to Mauritius and Nigeria. In his role at the G20, he is a strong believer in India's role as a digital deliverer. In the journey that was set by the government to carry out the commitments of the G20, the role of a Sherpa is not only crucial, but highly demanding. The amazing efforts taken by the entire country as part of the G20 and other engagement activities could be a world record of its own. Much credit goes to extremely dedicated people like Ambassador Thakur, and we cannot thank him enough for being here with us today. Sir, I kindly request you to address the gathering now.
Thank you. President of the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Swami Amrita Swarupanandaji, dignitaries on the dais, distinguished delegates from the G20 and guest countries, dear students, members of the audience, colleagues. At the outset, let me begin by thanking the C20 organizers for bestowing upon me this unique and special privilege, this honor of addressing the valedictory session of the C20 Summit for Technology, Security and Transparency. I am truly humbled by this honor, and I will try to do my best to lay out before colleagues and students here today some of the priorities of the Indian G20 presidency in this area, and also try and suggest some thoughts for consideration of the C20. India's G20 presidency is a great opportunity for us to exhibit to the world our economic progress, fueled by strong technological expertise and intellectual achievements, and at the same time benefit from the power of the conversations that have infused the G20 since its very inception, and as speaker after speaker have said, to really put together a narrative, a thought for collective development, leaving no one behind. India's G20 presidency theme, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, One Earth, One Family, One Future, symbolizes our collective approach of living in harmony with nature and growth amid challenges. Friends, digital technology has become an essential force for change in this century. It is reshaping governance and impacting every aspect of development. India is one of the most and one of the fastest digitizing economies in the world. We are committed to leaving no one behind and are currently poised for our next phase of growth, that is creating tremendous economic value along with galvanizing and empowering our citizens through various new age digital applications that permeate all economic sectors. In fact, as per a report of the Ministry of Electronics and IT, India is expected to create up to $1 trillion of economic value from her digital economy in the next 2 years. The Digital India program, launched in July 2015, is a flagship program of the Government of India that is transforming the country into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. It has reduced the digital divide between urban, rural, and semi-rural areas, as well as provided easy digital access for procuring goods and services, thereby bringing about digital inclusion and digital empowerment for millions of people. In this context, and in the context of the G20 deliberations, as well as today's C20 Technology Summit, I will dwell upon the concept of what India is essentially trying to focus in this area of technological transformation, and how C20 can play a role and complement and add value to the G20 deliberations. And here, the importance of using digital and technological transformation for public good becomes critical. According to experts, global public goods are those whose benefits reach and affect citizens across the world. By their very nature, they are free, they are accessible, and they benefit each and every one without discrimination. Environment, culture, peace and harmony, rule of law, even public health. These are some areas of global public good. Even standards such as a metric system or a wheel that is used, the invention of the wheel changed civilization, was a global public good. No one can be prevented from using the public good, and by using it, its usefulness to others is not diminished. So in principle, public good is free, it is accessible. And what I'm trying to get at here is, can we look at technology, technological progress, technological transformation as a global public good? Sometimes there is a contradiction between a free public good and the way it can be advanced and developed, because there are costs involved. So at the minimum, if the particular fruit of development cannot become a public good, at least what can be done is to have a completely non-commercial public service approach to technological advancement. In India, in terms of national public goods, a lot of digital empowerment has been leveraged to boost our economic development. A national public good would not automatically become a global public good. We in India see financial inclusion, digital financial inclusion, riding on the jam trinity: low mobile costs, virtually free internet availability, and easy link to the bank accounts, having brought almost each and every adult across the country under the digital financial umbrella, giving a boost to economic development. So we need to further this experience, this thought, this very wonderful achievement of national digital public good to a global digital public good. For example, the rule of law or the constitution, which we all follow, is also a public good. It is free, it is something which is used to enforce and observe rule of law, and if universalized, it carries immense potential for global development. And therefore, we need to, as a civil society, as governments, try and see how far and how much we can do to mainstream technological progress and scale it up to a global public good. Some examples: the rapid scaling up of public digital platforms like Aadhaar, unified payment interface, digital signature, DigiLocker, along with the adoption of artificial intelligence in fintech and high-speed internet services, has tremendously helped Indians in advancing swift, secure, paperless and cashless service delivery. According to the World Bank Global Findex report, almost 55% of the bank accounts opened between 2015 and 2017 the world over were in India. India is today carrying out more digital transactions every day than USA, China and Europe combined. 460 million people have been included into the banking system, and we have been able to directly transfer the benefits of over 600 government schemes into the bank accounts of the public. Further, our digital health initiatives such as CoWIN and Ayushman Bharat, India's largest vaccination delivery and assurance platforms respectively, have placed India in an exclusive position to share and care for and help other countries in building their digital public infrastructure. As the world continues to advance towards Industry 4.0, the fourth industrial revolution, Digital technologies provide a unique opportunity to connect citizens to services and jobs. Rapid progress in the field of big data, IoT, machine learning, robotics, drones, nanotechnology, and AI are deeply impacting the nature of work in multifarious ways, and around 90% of new jobs worldwide require digital skills. However, these advancements come with several challenges, such as lack of digital trust, inadequate digital skills among the workforce, increasing number of cyber frauds, and concerns regarding the use of AI. There is pressing need for implementing responsible AI in different arenas which enable seamless delivery of public services. To ensure that children, youth, women, senior citizens, and marginalized groups are able to avail the benefits of digitalization while enjoying a safe and secure cyberspace, it is vital to develop and use compassion-driven technology and institutionalize a multifaceted approach that considers ethical, legal, and social implication of AI. And in this context, a key priority of India's G20 presidency is to share its model of digital public infrastructure across the world. Open, interoperable, inclusive, secure, and market-friendly public digital platforms facilitating consensual data sharing can help countries leapfrog traditional barriers to large-scale social and digital transformation at an affordable cost. Therefore, DPI, as we are calling it, for digital inclusion and innovation, is one of the major substantive deliverables of India's G20 presidency. Besides bringing forth concrete deliverables, the Digital Economy Working Group under the Sherpa track is also focused on yielding precise deliverables on cybersecurity in the digital economy and digital skilling. We should not forget that about 1.7 billion adults across the world are still not financially included. And it is important that if we want to bring the fruits of development to developing countries, to emerging markets, to countries across Asia and Africa, then we must use the power of the digital much more, much better, much less commercially, much more as a public good, if we have to bring the fruits of development to the last mile and deliver it to the last person, to the most vulnerable sections of the society. To harness the opportunities presented by digital transformation, ensuring at the same time a secure digital economy is a must. Through our G20 presidency, we are addressing the barriers to digital inclusion posed by lack of adequate cybersecurity by developing a toolkit that defines a common cyber education framework for school and university curricula across G20 countries. Additionally, India is also committed to developing a toolkit that addresses the various aspects of digital upskilling and reskilling programs so as to prepare a global, future-ready workforce. In this context, and I would draw C20 special attention to it, and I'm happy to already extend an invitation to the C20 to the forthcoming G20 presidency conference on what we are calling crime and security in the age of non-fungible tokens, artificial intelligence, and metaverse, which will be held on 13th and 14th of July in Gurugram. Building a safe cyberspace, countering cybercrime, and promoting ethical use of new and emerging technologies like AI and metaverse is a growing priority of the G20. Therefore, we are actively working towards evolving a framework for cybersecurity education, training, and capacity building. In order to create greater mass awareness and raise standards among businesses, governments, and society aimed towards a more human-centric, safer, more transparent, and more ethical development and deployment of advanced technologies. The role of various civil society organizations working in the domains of technology, security, and transparency is very important. Ensuring transparency and encouraging multi-stakeholder engagements, implementing accountability and continuous monitoring mechanisms, and drafting ethical guidelines are crucial steps that must be bolstered with the involvement of the civil society. Through your relentless efforts, multidisciplinary engagements, and multilateral collaborations, all of you are collaborating and contributing to the development of technologies, particularly AI, that enables automated decision making and knowledge aggregation for social development based on equity, inclusivity, accountability, and also charity. To conclude, I would like to deeply appreciate all C20 summit participants to have engaged in fruitful dialogues and deliberations for developing policy recommendations that will invariably help people across the globe in meaningful ways. Your recommendations will lend a credible voice to the Civil 20 communique, and I'm confident that Civil 20 under the chairship of Amma and fueled by your ambitions, progressive outlook, and zeal for inclusivity will deliver a robust, comprehensive, and decisive policy pack that shall benefit generations to come. I also look forward to this theme being further developed and brought in strongly in the Civil 20 summit in the end of July. So in conclusion, let me leave this group with a thought that if we have to bring about one change in the entire technological transformation discourse, then let us work towards converting or approaching the power of technology as a global public good, which is administered and made available to everyone in a safe, secure, and transparent manner, free of cost, and if not free, then at affordable cost, accessible to every adult, every individual across the planet, in a manner that we have air, water, public health, metric standards, and basic needs, and recognize as a society, as a G20 narrative, that the way forward for technological progress is only if we look at it through the prism of global digital public goods. I thank you all for your attention and look forward to staying engaged closely with the C20 in working together and bringing very substantive and very meaningful deliverables for the G20 leaders at the New Delhi summit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. With all the examples that you mentioned, India definitely plays a significant role in leading and being an example for the whole world when it comes to digital transformation, technological transformation for global public good, not just national public good, which also aligns with the slogan Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, which is also the name of the summit, which we have, Technology and Security for One World. Thank you, sir. I would like to request Pujya Swamiji Amrita Swarupananda Puri to kindly share our token of appreciation to Ambassador Abhay Thakur. Now, I would like to request Dr. Prashant Nair, Professor and C20 Technology and Security Transparency Working Group member, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, to deliver the word of thanks.
Honorable dignitaries on and off the dais and summit participants, on behalf of the Civil 20 Secretariat, C20 Core Steering, International Advisory Committees, Working Groups, and of course, Amrita University, it gives me immense pleasure to propose this vote of thanks for this historic C20 summit. We have had so many power-packed sessions over the last couple of days for this summit organized by the TST, the Technology, Security and Transparency Working Group. Under the leadership and guidance of the Civil 20 Chair, Her Holiness Sri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi Amma, this summit has provided yet another forum for civil society organizations all across the world to reflect the common concerns affecting the people of this planet, as also promote social and economic development with a vision of leaving no one behind. The G20 presidency of India is a proud milestone for the entire nation and its 140 crore citizens. My gratitude goes to Ambassador Abhay Thakur, the G20 sous Sherpa, not only for gracing this valediction, but also for his immense contribution and efforts towards delivering an inclusive, decisive, action-oriented, and ambitious G20 presidency, in the words of our Honorable Prime Minister of India. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing this occasion. It is indeed a privilege and honor, with a sense of humility, that I thank everyone here who have shaped this summit at this beautiful carbon-positive campus of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, India's #1 private university. I thank Sampujya Swami Amrita Swarupananda Puriji for deciding to bring this summit to this campus, to our backyard. In deepest reverence to you, Swamiji, thank you very much for always being with us, guiding us and hand-holding us for every step forward. Your compassionate way of driving the team to achieve greater heights is very remarkable. Thank you again, Swamiji. Across 6 continents, 100+ countries, almost 1,000 civil society organizations have contributed to our efforts towards the C20, the Civil 20 policy recommendations, both virtually and physically over the last 5 months. I thank all of them from the bottom of my heart, and especially some of them who are here with us for the valediction: Ms. Alessandra Nilo, C20 Troika member from Brazil, Mr. Yigal Una from Israel, Felista Aku from Nigeria, Lindy Wafula from Kenya, and many, many more. All of your extremely valuable inputs are recorded and will be factored into the recommendations of the C20 policy pack. I thank our sponsors and partners for their patronage of this summit: Cochin Shipyard, GenWorks, Secure Retirement, Zifra Technologies, Netcon, ISAC, BotLab Dynamics, and South Indian Bank. Partners like IEEE, FDDF, the Internet Society, the IGF, and many more. My gratitude to all members of the press and media, the state government administration, the district administration, cultural and drone light show performers, the G20 and Civil 20 working group coordinators and volunteers, our ashramites, university senior administration, faculty, students, staff from all departments and support services of not only the Amrita University campus here at Ettimadai, but all the campuses. We are extremely fortunate to be always backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues of the entire Amrita fraternity. They have been working tirelessly, non-stop for the last 2 months to make this summit a reality. Once again, I thank one and all. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant. Taking on the responsibility to reach out to the voices of the CSOs has been a rewarding and humbling experience, being the core of billions of people and standing up for them. It was such a tremendous privilege that we are extremely grateful to the Government of India and the Honorable Chair, Srimata Amritanandamayi Devi. We are extremely happy to have had such distinguished guests from the international community, civil society organizations, industry experts, professionals, and academia who provided us with valuable insights in molding the policy recommendations with prime focus on human-centered perspectives. With that, we have come to the end of the valedictory ceremony. I once again thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Our chief guest ambassador needs to leave soon as he is on a tight schedule.